It was a calm Sunday afternoon. The sun was soft, not too hot. The sky was clear. The neighborhood looked perfect from the outside. Clean roads. Green grass. White houses standing in neat lines. This was one of those places where people believe nothing bad could ever happen. Kids were outside, laughing and playing. Some were riding bikes. Some were drawing with chalk on the sidewalk. Parents were nearby, watching, talking, feeling safe. Among the children was a small boy named Alex. Alex was 8 years old. He was riding his blue scooter near the edge of the road. He was not fast. He was not loud. He was just enjoying his day like any other child. Alex stayed close to his house. His mother had told him clearly, "Do not go far. Stay where I can see you." And he did. Alex did not know that someone was watching him very closely. From across the street, a woman stood on her porch. Her name was Karen. Karen was not smiling. She never smiled when children were around. Karen believed this neighborhood belonged to rules, not people. She believed that HOA rules were more important than kindness. More important than common sense. More important than children. She had complained before. About cars parked wrong. About trash cans left outside. About grass that was too tall. And now, she had found a new problem. Alex. Karen watched the boy ride his scooter back and forth. Her eyes followed every move. Her lips pressed together tightly. She walked closer to the sidewalk. "Hey!" she shouted suddenly. Alex stopped. He looked around, confused. Karen pointed at the ground. "Do you live here?" she asked in a sharp voice. Alex nodded slowly. "Yes, ma'am." Karen crossed her arms. "You are not allowed to ride there," she said. "It's against HOA rules." Alex looked down at his scooter. "I'm just playing," he said quietly. Karen shook her head. "That's not my problem," she replied. "Rules are rules." Some neighbors started looking over. Alex felt nervous. He did not understand what he had done wrong. Karen took out her phone. "I warned you," she said. "Now you will learn." She pressed a button. Alex heard her say the words that made his stomach feel tight. "I need the police." A few minutes passed. The street became quiet. Children stopped playing. Parents stood closer to their kids. Then everyone heard it. The sound of a police siren. A police car turned into the street and stopped near Karen's house. An officer stepped out. Karen walked up fast, speaking before the officer could say anything. "This child is damaging HOA property," she said loudly. "I want him dealt with." The officer looked at Alex. Alex's hands started shaking. "I didn't do anything," Alex said softly. The officer did not ask many questions. He looked tired. He looked impatient. Karen kept talking. "These kids think they can do whatever they want," she said. "Someone needs to teach them discipline." The officer nodded slowly. Neighbors started to whisper. One man took out his phone. A woman shook her head. "This doesn't feel right," someone said quietly. Alex looked toward his house. His mother was not home yet. The officer stepped closer to Alex. "Turn around," the officer said. Alex froze. "I want my mom," he whispered. Karen rolled her eyes. "You should have thought of that before breaking the rules." Then it happened. The officer took out handcuffs. Cold metal clicked shut around Alex's small wrists. Gasps filled the street. A child was now standing in handcuffs. Alex started crying. "I'm scared," he said through tears. Karen stood there, watching. She looked satisfied. "This is what happens when rules are broken," she said. Neighbors could not believe what they were seeing. Phones were recording now. Some people shouted, "He's just a kid." This is wrong. Karen turned and pointed at them. Mind your business, she snapped. I know the law. The officer told everyone to step back. Alex cried louder. The handcuffs were too big for his wrists. They looked heavy. They looked wrong. Karen did not notice one important detail. Down the street, a black SUV had just turned the corner. It slowed down. The driver saw the crowd. The driver saw the police car. And then she saw something that made her heart stop. A small boy. In handcuffs. Her son. The SUV stopped suddenly. The door opened. A woman stepped out. She walked fast. Very fast. Her face was calm, but her eyes were full of fire. The crowd went silent. Karen did not recognize her. The officer did not recognize her either. But everything was about to change. Because this woman was not just any mother. And Karen had no idea what she had just started. The street felt different now. What was once a peaceful place suddenly felt cold and heavy. Alex stood still, his small hands locked in metal cuffs. Tears rolled down his cheeks. He did not understand why this was happening to him. He was just a child. The officer stood beside him, avoiding eye contact. Karen stepped forward like she owned the moment. She spoke louder now, making sure everyone could hear. This is exactly what this neighborhood needs, Karen said. Discipline. Some neighbors looked at her in shock. A mother pulled her daughter closer. A father clenched his fists. But no one moved. Fear held them in place. Karen pointed at Alex's scooter. These kids think sidewalks are playgrounds, she said. They don't respect rules anymore. Alex tried to speak. I wasn't hurting anything, he said quietly. Karen ignored him. She turned to the officer. You should take him away, she said. Teach him a lesson. The officer hesitated. Just for a second. Then he looked at the crowd. People were recording. That made him uncomfortable. He cleared his throat. We'll handle this, he said. Alex's heart started racing. Please, Alex said. I want my mom. Karen laughed softly. Your mother should have taught you better, she replied. That laugh made the crowd angry. One man stepped forward. He's 8, the man said. This is too much. Karen snapped her head toward him. Are you threatening an officer? She asked sharply. The man stepped back. Silence returned. Karen felt powerful. This was her moment. For years, she believed no one followed the rules properly. Today, she believed she was finally fixing that problem. She did not notice the black SUV parked nearby. She did not notice the woman standing behind the crowd. The woman was watching everything. She watched Alex cry. She watched the officer stand still. She watched Karen speak like a judge. Her hands slowly formed fists. She walked closer. Each step was calm. Controlled. The crowd slowly made space for her. Some people noticed her face. Something about her presence felt different. Strong. Commanding. She stopped a few feet away from Karen. Karen turned. What are you staring at? Karen asked rudely. The woman looked at Alex. Then she looked at the officer. Her voice was calm, but firm. Why is that child in handcuffs? The officer looked at her. He opened his mouth, then closed it. Karen answered instead. He broke HOA rules, Karen said proudly. And I reported him. The woman did not react. She stepped closer to Alex. Alex looked up. Through his tears, he recognized her. Mom, he whispered. Karen's smile slowly disappeared. The woman placed her hand on Alex's shoulder. She looked directly at the officer. I asked you a question, she said again. Why is my son in handcuffs? The officer's face changed. Karen felt something shift in the air. The confidence she felt seconds ago started to crack. The woman reached into her jacket. Karen opened her mouth to speak again. But then, the woman pulled out something that made the officer freeze. And made Karen's heart drop. The street went completely quiet. Not a single child spoke. Not a single adult moved. Even the wind felt still. The woman stood in front of the officer, calm and steady. Her hand was inside her jacket, but she had not pulled anything out yet. Karen's eyes stayed locked on her. "Who do you think you are?" Karen asked. Her voice tried to sound strong, but it was shaking. The woman did not answer her. She looked at Alex again. His face was red from crying. His hands were cold from the metal cuffs. She bent down slowly. "I'm here," she said softly. "You're okay now?" Alex nodded, still scared. The officer cleared his throat. "Ma'am," he said, "please step back." The woman stood up. She did not step back. Instead, she stepped closer. "Before I do that," she said calmly, "I want to know who gave you permission to put handcuffs on a child." The officer looked around. Phones were pointed at him. Karen crossed her arms again. "This is being handled," Karen said quickly. "You're not part of this." The woman turned her head slowly. She looked straight at Karen. Her eyes were cold. "You made yourself part of this," the woman replied. Karen felt something she had not felt in a long time. Doubt. The woman reached into her jacket again. This time, she pulled something out. It was small. It was dark. It shined in the sunlight. The officer's face turned pale. He took a step back without thinking. Karen leaned forward, trying to see. "What is that?" Karen asked. The woman held it up. A badge. Not just any badge. It had weight. It had authority. The words on it were clear. Police Captain. The officer swallowed hard. His mouth went dry. "See, Captain," he whispered. The crowd gasped. Karen's face froze. She blinked. Once. Twice. "No," Karen said quickly. "That doesn't mean anything." The woman spoke again, her voice still calm. "It means everything." She clipped the badge back onto her jacket. "I am Captain Miller," she said. "And that is my son." The street exploded with noise. People whispered loudly. Phones moved closer. Someone said, "Oh my God." Karen stepped back. This is a misunderstanding," Karen said. "He broke the rules." Captain Miller looked at her. "Show me the rule," she said. Karen opened her mouth. No words came out. The officer's hands shook. "I didn't know," he said. "I swear, I didn't know." Captain Miller looked at Alex's handcuffs. Then she looked at the officer. "You didn't need to know who I was," she said. "You only needed to know he is a child." The officer lowered his head. Karen's confidence was gone now. Her voice sounded small. "I was just protecting the neighborhood." Captain Miller stepped closer to her. "From what?" she asked. "A scooter?" Karen looked away. The captain turned to the officer again. "Remove the cuffs," she ordered. The officer rushed to unlock them. The metal fell to the ground with a loud sound. Alex rubbed his wrists. Captain Miller pulled him into her arms. The crowd watched in silence. Karen stood alone. Her power had vanished. But Captain Miller was not finished yet. She looked at Karen one last time. "Now," she said, "we're going to talk about what you did." Karen's face turned white. Because for the first time, she knew she was in real trouble. The handcuffs lay on the ground. Cold. Silent. Everyone could see them. A few minutes ago, they were on a child's wrists. Now, they were a reminder of a mistake that could not be hidden. Alex stood close to his mother. Captain Miller kept one hand on his shoulder. She did not raise her voice. She did not shout. That scared Karen more. Captain Miller turned to the officer. "Step back," she said. The officer obeyed immediately. His posture changed. His confidence was gone. Karen noticed that. And she felt something heavy in her chest. "This is getting out of control," Karen said nervously. "We can just forget this happened." Captain Miller looked at her. "No," she said. "We can't." She turned toward the neighbors. "I want witnesses," Captain Miller said. "Anyone who recorded, keep recording." Karen's eyes widened. "Are you threatening me?" Karen asked. Captain Miller stayed calm. "No," she replied. "I'm protecting the truth." The captain crouched down to Alex again. "Did she touch you?" she asked gently. Alex nodded slowly. "She yelled," he said. "And she scared me." Karen stepped forward fast. "I never touched him," she shouted. Captain Miller stood up. "I didn't say you did," she said. That made Karen stop. Captain Miller turned to the officer again. "Did you ask this child for his parents' information?" she asked. The officer shook his head. "No, ma'am." "Did you believe one adult without proof?" she asked. The officer said nothing. Captain Miller nodded. "That's a problem," she said. Karen started talking fast. "I pay HOA fees," she said. "I have rights." Captain Miller looked at her. "So does my son," she replied. The captain pulled out her phone. She made one call. "Internal affairs," she said clearly. "I need a supervisor here now." The officer's face went white. Karen froze. "You can't do this," Karen said. "I was helping." Captain Miller ended the call. "Helping would have been talking," she said. "What you did was control." The crowd began to speak. "She always does this. She calls the police for nothing. She harasses people." Karen looked around. She was alone now. Captain Miller faced her. "Give me your full name," she said. Karen hesitated. "I don't have to," she said. Captain Miller smiled slightly. "You do," she said. "And you will." Karen finally spoke her name. Captain Miller nodded. "Thank you," she said. "That will be in the report." Karen's breathing became fast. "What report?" she asked. Captain Miller looked at the officer. "False reporting," she said. "Child endangerment. Abuse of authority." Karen shook her head. "This isn't fair," she whispered. Captain Miller leaned closer. "Neither was handcuffing a child," she said. A second police car arrived. Then another. Karen watched as officers stepped out. This was no longer her moment. This was no longer her street. Captain Miller held Alex's hand. "Stay right here," she told him. She turned back to Karen. "This is just the beginning," she said. Karen felt her knees weaken. Because now she understood one thing clearly. Power had changed sides. More police cars lined the street. Red and blue lights flashed on clean white houses. The peaceful neighborhood no longer looked perfect. People stood in small groups, whispering, pointing, watching. Karen stood in the middle of it all. She felt small. Her hands were shaking. "This is unnecessary," Karen said loudly. "I didn't do anything wrong." No one answered her. Captain Miller stood near her son. Alex was sitting on the curb now, wrapped in his mother's jacket. A female officer knelt beside him, speaking gently. Karen noticed that. And it made her angry. "You're treating her like a hero," Karen shouted. I'm the one who follows rules. Captain Miller turned slowly. Rules are not weapons, she said. They are guidelines. Karen laughed nervously. You people are overreacting, she said. This happens all the time. A neighbor stepped forward. No, the neighbor said. This happens because of you. Karen looked shocked. Another neighbor joined. She calls police for kids playing, the woman said. For music. For visitors. A man spoke next. She once tried to fine me for my trash can being out 10 minutes late. Karen shouted, That's my job. Captain Miller raised her hand. The crowd went quiet. HOA power has limits, she said. And today, those limits were crossed. An older officer approached Captain Miller. He listened as she explained everything. He nodded slowly. His eyes moved to Karen. Ma'am, he said, you are being reported for false emergency reporting. Karen stepped back. You can't arrest me, she said. I'm part of the HOA. The officer replied calmly. The HOA is not above the law. Karen's face turned red. This is harassment, she said. I want a lawyer. Captain Miller nodded. That's your right, she said. Just like safety is my son's right. Karen looked around again. No one stood with her. Not one person. The officer took out a notepad. Full statement, he said to Karen. Karen started talking fast. She changed her story. She blamed the officer. She blamed Alex. She blamed the neighbors. But the cameras told a different story. Phones were everywhere. Every word. Every action. Every lie. Captain Miller watched quietly. She did not interrupt. She did not smile. She waited. When Karen finished, the captain spoke. This will go to the city, she said. And to the HOA board. Karen's voice broke. They'll remove me, she whispered. Captain Miller replied. That's a consequence. Karen's shoulders dropped. Her power was gone. The crowd felt it. For the first time, people stood taller. They were not afraid anymore. Alex looked up at his mother. Can we go home? He asked. Captain Miller smiled softly. Soon, she said. She stood up and looked at Karen one last time. This neighborhood will be safe again, she said. But not because of fear. Karen looked down. Because now she knew. Everyone was watching her. And nothing would ever be the same. The streets slowly returned to quiet. Police cars began to leave one by one. But the damage was already done. What happened that day could not be erased. Captain Miller sat with Alex inside their home. She cleaned the red marks on his wrists. Alex stayed quiet. Too quiet. That scared her more than his tears. Later that evening, Captain Miller went back outside. She had work to do. The officer who placed the handcuffs stood near his car. His head was down. Internal affairs officers arrived. They asked questions. They watched the videos. They took statements. The truth was clear. Very clear. The officer was told to turn in his badge and weapon. Just for now. Suspended. Karen watched from her porch. She had not gone inside. She could not move. An HOA board email went out that same night. Emergency meeting. Karen's name was listed. Neighbors talked. Group chats were full. Stories came out. Screenshots. Old complaints. Patterns. The HOA board had no choice. Karen was removed from her position. Effective immediately. The next morning, news vans arrived. Not many. But enough. Karen closed her curtains. Captain Miller did not talk to reporters. She did not need to. The videos spoke for her. Alex stayed home from school. His mother stayed with him. She listened. She hugged him. She promised him something important. "This was not your fault," she said. Alex nodded. He believed her. Slowly. A week later, a letter arrived. From the police department. Formal apology. Policy review. New training announced. Children in use of force. Karen received letters too. Court dates. Fines. Mandatory classes. No more HOA authority. No more control. Captain Miller stood outside one evening. Kids were playing again. Scooters. Bikes. Laughter. Alex joined them. This time, no one yelled. No one watched with anger. Captain Miller smiled. Justice did not come fast. But it came clearly. And it stayed. The neighborhood looked peaceful again. But it was not the same kind of peace as before. Before, it was quiet because people were careful. Now, it was quiet because people felt safe. Children played freely on the sidewalk. Parents talked without fear. No one rushed inside when a door opened. Alex rode his blue scooter again. This time, he smiled. Captain Miller watched from the porch. She did not wear her uniform. She was just a mother now. Alex stopped near her. "Mom," he asked, "am I in trouble anymore?" She knelt down and looked him in the eyes. "No," she said softly. "You never were." Alex nodded and went back to play. Across the street, Karen's house stayed quiet. Her curtains were closed. No complaints. No warnings. No power. People did not cheer. They did not celebrate. They simply moved on. Because justice is not about winning. It is about balance. A few weeks later, the HOA rules were updated. Clear words. Child safety first. No police calls for children at play. No authority without reason. Neighbors voted together. For the first time. Captain Miller never asked for special treatment. She never mentioned her rank again. She did not need to. Her actions spoke louder. Alex learned something that day. Not all adults are right. Not all rules are fair. But good people will stand up when it matters. The neighbors learned too. Silence helps the wrong people. Speaking up protects the right ones. And Karen learned the hardest lesson. Power without care becomes abuse. One afternoon, Captain Miller walked past the sidewalk. She saw chalk drawings on the ground. Bright colors. Happy shapes. She did not erase them. She smiled. The camera slowly fades out. A simple message stays in the mind. Rules should protect people, not hurt them. And you never know who someone really is.